Hello, welcome back to the kitchen. Today I'm going to be making a special shortbread that is going to be served with coconut milk and raspberry jam, and it's also going to be decorated with sliced almonds. So here we have our dry ingredients that I'm going to be mixing together in this bowl. And as you can see, I'm using gluten-free flour today. And here are the so-called wet ingredients, even though they're not really all wet. Or some people call this group of ingredients the butters and sugars, because that's the basic part of it, plus our flavorings. So I'm going to be flavoring this with coconut and almond extract. I'm going to be mixing all that together in this bowl. Alright, so first we need 2 cups of flour, and because these bags are so small that I can't reach the cup down into the bag like I would normally do, I'm gonna use the second bowl and just pour it in over the bowl in case any spills. Next, we need 3/4 teaspoon of coarse salt. So because I can't really grind this into this without getting salt everywhere, I'm going to grind it into this cup here. Alright, let's see if that's enough. Okay, yep, that's plenty. So I'll have something left over to use for something later. Alright, now our recipe says to sift the flour and salt together. If you've watched any of these videos before, you would know that I don't sift because I like to use the quicker option of just whisking it up, which helps get air into the mixture, same as sifting would do. Alright, so next we have to cream our butter, which basically just means beating it until it's creamy. And to do that, I'm going to use the electric mixer. And also you need to make sure your butter is at room temperature. Mine hasn't been sitting out quite long enough, so I'm just going to microwave it for just a little bit, just 30 seconds on 50% power. You can see it's almost to the point where it needs to be, but you can't push a finger into it easily. So if I tried to beat it now the way it is, I would probably have hunks of butter flying everywhere. Alright, this is perfect because it's not liquefied at all, but see, it's really easy to make a fingerprint in it. So I'm going to be able to beat it up. Alright, so this should take 3 to 5 minutes to cream the butter. Alright, as you can see, it looks nice and creamy. So we're going to add our sugar. For this, you can use either confectioner's sugar, also known as 10X or powdered sugar, or you can also just use the regular granulated sugar. Last time I made shortbread, I used this type instead, and I just found I liked the final results better, so I'm going to use that again. You only need a 1/2 cup. So shortbread actually isn't that sweet if you like your desserts to be not too sweet. But, as you can tell from all the butter in here, it's very fatty. So, I don't know, you pick your poison, I guess, in your desserts if you want it to be more of a fatty dessert or a sugary dessert. Alright, so now we're going to beat this until it looks white, not white, but very light in color and fluffy, and it should take about 2 more minutes. Alright, so it's now very light in color and fluffy looking, so we're going to add our flavors. So we're supposed to do a teaspoon of extract. So here's my teaspoon. I'm going to just fill this about halfway with the almond. Oops, that was a little more, but sorry. And then fill it again about halfway with the coconut. And when you're buying extracts, you want to look for where it says pure extract of whatever type of extract it is. And it should only say water, alcohol, and oil of whatever flavor it is. So in this case, it's oil of almonds. If you see if it says like almond flavor, that means it's not real, it's fake. So it just tastes better if you get the pure extract. And then on this one, it says coconut extract with other natural flavors. So alcohol, water, natural flavor, and extractives of coconut. So it does still have the real coconut in there. About half a teaspoon. Alright, so now we're going to add in our flour mixture from before, and we're going to combine this on low speed just until it's combined, because you don't want to overbeat it. Alright, so as you can see, it's mostly combined. I'm going to do the rest of the mixing by hand just because my mixer tends to be really fast. The speed that I had it on just now was the lowest speed, which really isn't very low. So to keep from over mixing, I'm going to scrape off my beaters now and do the rest of the mixing with my spatula. So now we're going to grease our pan. You could just spray it with cooking spray, but I just find it's easier to use oil that I already have on hand, that I don't have to even buy cooking spray. And I know that it's only oil, no other weird ingredients that might be in the spray. Now we press our dough into the container. It's pretty even. So now I'm going to do something that I don't usually do. I'm going to score it, because scoring lets you know exactly where, which it works better if your knife isn't quite so sticky. So we're going to put a little bit of oil on the knife. So the basic point of the scoring is so that you know where the slices are going to be, and it makes it easier to slice it after it's baked. And the reason why I want to do that in this recipe is because I want to make sure when I decorate with the almonds that there aren't going to be any almonds in the middle of where I want to cut. Okay, it's rather sticky. Another thing you can try is to flour your knife. And scoring just means you don't cut all the way through, you just cut part way down. Alright, so now we're going to decorate with our almonds. And while I'm decorating with my almonds, I'm going to start preheating my oven. So the oven has to be at 325 for this. And you do want it to be all the way up to the temperature that it says before you put your item in the oven. fish scales, and I'll flatten them just a tiny bit so that the tips don't get burnt. Okay, and I have put my shortbread on a rack that's close to the middle of the oven so that hopefully neither the top nor the bottom will get too brown. And it's going to be in here for about 50 minutes. Alright, it's all finished. And we're going to serve it up with the coconut milk and the raspberry jam. I'm just going to cut along the score lines that I made before. Try to get it out without cracking it. Ah, okay, I did not succeed. It's alright. First piece is always the most difficult to get out. Alright, and I'm going to put on some of the coconut milk. As you can see with the coconut milk, it's separated into 2 layers. If you leave it sit for long enough, the coconut cream, as they call it, which is like the fatty part, floats to the top, and then the coconut water stays on the bottom. So the coconut cream is what we want for this. So I'm just going to carefully scoop out some of the cream without disturbing it and mixing it back into the water. That's plenty. And then just a little bit of the raspberry jam. Ooh. Okay, just to try and make it look a bit more neat because I got the crumbs everywhere. It's pretty crumbly. Alright, and you can see how pretty that turned out. And I'm going to try it out. I think this turned out really good. And I like how the coconut and the almond and the jam together just makes it a little bit different than your usual shortbread. Thanks for joining me in the kitchen. Have a great week and see you in 2 weeks. In the Kitchen is now every 2nd and 4th Tuesday. Alright, bye!